The dawn broke like a rotten coconut over the deck of the lazy albatross, dripping gray light through the tangled rigging and giving everything the color of old dishwater. Captain Pegleg Polly squinted at the horizon, yawning around a mouthful of broken teeth, and called, "Bring me map, Biscuit Jack! Time we plot course for Treasure Truffle Cay!" Biscuit Jack, named not for any culinary skill, but for his inexplicable resemblance to a damp cracker, produced the prized parchment from a brass tube. Next to him trotted Inkspot Izzy, the ship's cartographer, whose hands were stained with ink so permanently that no soap on sea or shore could free them. Polly unfurled the map like a dramatic magician revealing a rabbit. Then the clouds above coughed out a single, monstrously fat raindrop. It splattered dead center on the delicate vellum, followed by a downpour so sudden and enthusiastic that the entire crew could only stare, stunned, as the ink bled away in seconds. Izzy screamed as though she had just watched her childhood teddy bear get eaten by sharks. "Me beautiful longitude lines! That's not water, it's disaster juice," roared Gloomy Gus, the quartermaster, who was constitutionally obligated to expect the worst. He dove for the map, but it was too late. Polly snapped it closed and gave it a shake. Blue and green rivulets gushed out like tearful ghosts. When the last droplet hit the planks, all that remained on the sheet was a handful of legible words on the back, printed in flowery cursive. "Believe you can, and you're halfway there!" The crew stared in silence. Professor Encouragement, the captain's parrot, flapped down from the mizzen and squawked, "Believe it! Halfway there! Balk, balk!" Polly scratched her chin. "Well, we can't see a single blasted latitude or longitude. All we've got are those words." She glanced around the silent faces. "Any of you know which direction we sail to get to Treasure Truffle Cay by believing?" Biscuit Jack cleared his throat. "Could be inspirational, Captain." Gus folded his arms. "Inspirational, yes, but also useless. Motivation ain't navigation." "I disagree," Izzy said, waving stained fingers. "There's a compass rose on our hearts, metaphorically. Maybe literally in Gus's case. He's cranky enough to hide metal in there." Gus ignored her. Polly massaged her temples and inhaled the salty air. "All right, everyone. New plan. We treat these quotations as directions." Silence again, thick as chowder. "Look alive, you bilge beetles!" she barked, slamming her peg leg against the deck. "We're pirates. When the sea takes your map, you get creative." That afternoon, they set a course which Polly called Operation Believe. With no coordinates, she grabbed the ship's compass, spun it like a tavern top, and stopped it, pointing vaguely west by north. "There. That feels halfway between nothing and nowhere. Up with the sails!" The lazy albatross lurched forward. Night rolled in, and Izzy found 3 more half-washed lines on the map's ruined back. Every journey begins with a single step. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. The only impossible journey is the one you never begin. "Seems the parchment's got a whole sermon," Izzy said, handing it to Polly. Polly read them, her lips moving as if she were chewing courage like tobacco. "A single step, lemons. Impossible journeys. Right. We begin, and we squeeze citrus." Professor Encouragement squawked, "Squeeze it good!" The next morning, Biscuit Jack found Polly on deck with a barrel of actual lemons filched from the galley. She lobbed them at crew members. "When life gives you these, throw 'em back at the universe." Gus rubbed his forehead. "We'll starve on lemon rations." But an hour later, the crow's nest lookout, Sprout, a cabin boy still too young to grow facial hair but old enough to swear like a veteran, shouted, "Land ho! Small island off port bow." Sure enough, An island shaped like a punctuation mark broke the waterline. Izzy consulted the dripping remains of her professional dignity. Not on any charts. But maybe the quotes are working. They anchored off a beach fringed with coconut palms. The crew tromped ashore. A sign planted in the sand read, "Welcome to Lemon-Dade Atoll! Free samples." "Would you look at that?" Polly whispered. "It's literally giving us lemonade." They followed a trail of seashells to a bamboo stand, run by sunburned hermit crabs in tiny aprons. The crabs poured thimblefuls of golden lemonade, each cup topped with a jaunty paper umbrella. Biscuit Jack tasted one. His eyes went wide. "Delicious! And quite alcoholic!" The crabs chittered merrily. Sprout tried to pay in buttons. The crabs refused, pointing to another sign. "Payment! A single step!" Polly lifted her peg leg, stepped forward dramatically, and the crabs clapped their claws in satisfaction. Then they scuttled into the jungle, leaving behind 3 crates of bottled lemonade labeled for journeys impossible. Gus eyed them. "I hate it when magical crustaceans hand out cryptic beverages." Polly ignored him, stuffed the crates in their longboat, and returned to the Albatross. They sailed again, the quotes seemingly guiding them. That night, storms brewed like anger in a kettle. Lightning jagged the sky. The lazy Albatross bucked and heaved. Izzy inspected the ragged map and cried out, "Another quote has emerged! Kites rise highest against the wind, not with it." Polly's grin flashed. "Into the wind, crew. Reef the mizzen. Tighten the jib. We're turning straight into that squall." Gus paled. "We'll sink faster than a gold coin in porridge. If we do, at least we'll rise like kites while we drown," Polly shouted cheerfully. They veered into the screaming gale. Sheets snapped, rain hammered, and waves smacked the Albatross's hull like unpaid gamblers. But weirdly, the ship surged forward, slicing through the storm with reckless elegance. Lightning illuminated a path between black mountains of water, an unbroken corridor of calm at its center. The eye of the storm escorted them for hours, spitting them out at dawn into waters glittering beneath clear skies. Professor Encouragement ruffled his feathers and quoted, "Hard seas make strong sailors." Balk! Gus collapsed against a mast. "Fine," he conceded. "The sky's apparently an inspirational pamphlet now. But how do we know we're any closer to treasure?" As if summoned, Sprout shouted again, "Ship ahoy!" On the horizon, bobbed a vessel painted a vulgar shade of pink, flying a Jolly Roger wearing lipstick. Izzy gulped. "That's Lady Barb Azure's Pleasure. Yacht apparel! She's the only pirate flamboyant enough to bedazzle a cannon!" Polly narrowed her eyes. "She's after the same treasure, mark me words. Ready the guns. But hold! Another line!" She slapped the map on the railing. A fresh, bold sentence shimmered. "Kindness is the only chain that binds us all." Gus groaned. "You can't fight with kindness, Captain. You fight with iron and gunpowder." Biscuit Jack scratched his head. Maybe we can disarm them with courtesy." Polly snorted. "I'd sooner marry a sea cucumber." Izzy interjected. "Perhaps kindness means diplomacy. A parley?" A musket ball whistled over their heads from the pink ship. Professor Encouragement ducked and squawked, "Kindness, my tail feathers!" Polly exhaled. "Fine. Signal for parley." They raised a white flag decorated with a smiley face. Izzy's spontaneous artwork with tar and leftover lemonade. Lady Barb Azure's yacht slowed. A longboat approached, carrying Barb herself, a woman wearing 10,000 sequins, and a hat that deserved its own address. She stepped aboard the Albatross with an entourage of perfumed sailors. Barb scanned the grungy deck. Well, if it ain't Polly, the peg-legged pictogram of poor hygiene. To what do I owe the unpleasant aroma? Polly bit back a retort. Our map got soaked. We're navigating by motivational slogans. One of them told us kindness was required. So I'm attempting parley rather than blow you to glimmering smithereens. Barb blinked. Motivational slogans. Izzy handed over the soggy parchment. Barb read, then burst into delighted cackles. Oh, this is rich. She wiped a tear. But I'm not here for Treasure Truffle K. I already cleared that place out last month. Nothing left but holes and angry parrots. Polly's jaw dropped. You scurvy liar! Barb shrugged. Believe what you like. My crew's craving novelty now. A mythic island of dessert volcanoes. Perhaps that's your real destiny too. Gus muttered. Dessert volcanoes. She's delirious. Barb tossed something shiny to Polly. A compass made entirely of pink crystal. Take it. It points not north, but to the greatest desire of the holder's heart. Gift of kindness for kindness. The crew goggled. Polly lifted the gilded lid. The needle spun crazily before settling southwest. Barb hopped into her boat. Follow that if you dare! But bring sunscreen. I hear the whipped cream geysers sting! The yacht sailed away in a spray of glitter. Polly studied the crystal compass. It pulsed faintly, as if holding its breath. She turned to the crew, the map, and the parrot. Right, she said. Kindness done. Next quote. Izzy dabbed the water-stained sheet. Here. The best way out is always through. Through what? Biscuit Jack asked. Polly tapped the needle, which stubbornly held southwest. Guess we're about to find out. Hoist the lemonade crates as ballast. We're going, though. For 2 uneventful days, they cruised beneath calm skies. The crew grew suspicious of the quiet. Even Gus's complaints lost their edge. On the 3rd morning, a fog bank loomed, thick as mashed potatoes. The crystal compass gleamed brighter as they approached. Izzy squinted at the map. Another quote faded into view. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Polly laughed. A staircase in foggy waters. Fitting. Full sails. Into the spud mist. The lazy albatross slipped inside the ivory murk. Visibility dropped to the length of a sneeze. Only the compass's pale glow offered direction. The sea went eerily silent. Then a deep, melodious bell tolled somewhere ahead. Sprout whimpered. Ghost ship? Izzy's ink stains turned a paler shade of blue. Gus gripped a cutlass. I told you misery would find us. From the fog emerged shapes, stone pillars jutting from the water, each carved into the likeness of gigantic seashells. Between them floated enormous lily-pad platforms that rose and fell like lazy elevators. Polly's jaw slackened. A staircase! Of sorts. The ship bumped gently against the nearest pad. It sank a foot, then buoyed up, lifting the albatross. The bell tolled again, this time behind them. Another pad inviting the next step, like a colossal game of hopscotch. The ocean's surface offered them a path. Raise anchor! Polly shouted. We ride these steps. The crew stared. Izzy clapped excitedly. Gus argued. Ships ain't built for pogo stick sailing. But the pads aligned one after another, timed to the ship's weight, guiding them upward onto an unseen gradient. Fog thinned until they broke through into sunshine atop a plateau of calm water that hovered, impossibly, hundreds of feet above the rest of the sea. The horizon now looked like the edge of a colossal bowl. Beyond it, clouds lounged like lazy sea lions. Biscuit Jack chewed his hat. We're on elevated ocean. Polly breathed a reverent, blimey. The compass needle quivered, redirecting them to a shimmering tear in the air. It resembled heat haze, but vertical. A doorway rippling with rainbow threads. A new line of text inked itself on the cursed map. Your only limit is your imagination. Polly holstered her disbelief. Steer for the rainbow rip. The albatross touched the shimmering veil, and the world flipped like a coin. Suddenly, they were sailing on caramel, rich glossy caramel. The sky overhead dripped fudge clouds. Mountains of meringue loomed in the distance, and yes, volcanoes spurting whipped cream plumes dotted the horizon. Every crew member gaped in sweet-toothed awe. "Desert islands," whispered Gus. Lady Barb wasn't mad after all. Sprout dipped his finger overboard and licked. "It's delicious and hot!" A cream eruption thundered, sending a white jet into the syrup sky. Foam snowed onto the deck, lightly dusting them like pastries. Professor Encouragement sneezed violently and shouted, "Bless you, sugar!" Polly's eyes went glossy. Treasure Truffle K must be near here. Perhaps the sweets conceal it. But as they pressed on, the caramel sea thickened, slowing the hull. A new quote bubbled to the surface of the old map, as though written in icing. "Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." Polly read it aloud. "Courage to continue!" "Aye. Prep the longboats. The ship's stuck." They loaded supplies, including the mysterious lemonade crates, and paddled across the viscous sea toward the whipped cream volcanoes. The oars stuck like spoons in custard. Halfway there, a roar split the saccharine air. From beneath the caramel surface rose a monstrous creature shaped like a gummy octopus, translucent red, sugar glittering across its tentacles. Sprout screamed something incoherent about dentistry. Gus ready to harpoon, shouting, "Finally! Danger that makes sense!" The gummy kraken slammed a tentacle beside them, splattering caramel across faces. Another quote shimmered spontaneously on the map, clutched by Izzy. "When in doubt, add sugar." Izzy shrieked, "Add sugar! It's made of sugar!" Polly snatched a lemonade bottle. "Lemon cut sweetness!" She hurled it. The bottle shattered on the monster's head. Tart liquid hissed as it caramelized. The Kraken paused, puzzled by this new flavor combination. Biscuit Jack brightened. "It's like cooking. Sweet plus sour equals balance." They frantically hurled lemonade, each bottle bursting in clouds of zesty vapor. The gummy beast writhed, tasting itself, confused and intrigued. Eventually, it retreated beneath the sticky waves, presumably to contemplate its newly acquired citrus notes. Gus exhaled. "I'll never underestimate beverages again." They reached the sugar shore, where the ground crackled like creme brulee. The whipped cream volcano closest to them boomed, belching a glob that landed near their feet, forming a steaming drift. In it stuck something. A gold coin emblazoned with a truffle. Izzy gasped. "We're here." Polly scraped off cream to reveal a stone stairway spiraling up the volcano's side. Chiseled into each step were more motivational quotes. "Dream big, or go home. Do or do not. There is no try." And countless others, sugary steam rising between the words. Gus rolled his eyes so hard they nearly escaped his skull. We climbed maritime marshmallows for this ladder of cliches. Polly planted her peg leg on the first step. "Less griping, more climbing. Treasure awaits." They ascended, stopping only to clear globs of cream from the path. At the summit, they discovered a crater, filled not with lava, but swirling dark chocolate, dotted with islands of truffle. In the center, a pedestal supported a treasure chest made of spun sugar so delicate it shimmered like morning dew. But the pedestal was encircled by letters, each carved deeply. "Choose your attitude." "Attitude," Biscuit Jack muttered. "What? Happy, sad, hungry." Professor Encouragement cocked his head. "Positive beats negative. Balk." Polly considered. "Maybe the chest opens only if we're enthusiastic." "Fake cheerfulness," I'm doomed, said Gloomy Gus. She marched to the pedestal and shouted into the chocolate winds. I choose audacious optimism! The letters glowed. The sugar chest clicked open, revealing a trove. Coins shaped like truffles, gems fashioned from candied fruit, and a rolled document sealed with a cocoa bean. Polly popped the seal. Inside was a fresh, pristine map. This one etched on waterproof laminated parchment. Real coordinates, legends, everything a navigator needed. Izzy burst into tears. A map that can't be ruined by water or lemonade. Gus peered into the chest. And enough wealth to buy me a sunny attitude for life. Polly laughed, an uncharacteristically sweet sound. But the greatest treasure, she proclaimed, waving the laminated map, is properly laminated cartography. Sprout whispered, I thought it was friendship. Friendship's a close second, Polly allowed. As they divvied the spoils, the volcano hummed. Molten chocolate swirled upward like a reverse waterfall, forming words in the sky. Adventure is out there! Go, find it! Polly cocked an eyebrow. Looks like the island's sending us off. Let's get this booty aboard before the dessert decides we're the cherry on top. Down the sugary stairs they raced, chests in arms. At the shore, the caramel sea had thinned to butterscotch soup, making rowing easier. The gummy kraken lurked nearby, politely waving a tentacle dipped in lemonade, a sweet sour handshake. They returned to the lazy albatross, which had freed itself and bobbed eagerly like a loyal hound. On deck, Polly unfurled the new map. Familiar oceans, islands, dangerous shoals. It was all there. But in the corner, in bold, indelible ink, sat a final quote. The greatest treasure is the course you set yourself. She smiled, folded it, and slipped it safe inside a new brass case. Crew, she declared, we now know where everything is, which means we can sail anywhere. Richer in gold and wisdom. Gus nodded grudgingly. Aye, and maybe next time we navigate by numbers, not nursery rhymes. Izzy hugged the laminated map like a newborn. Still, the quotes brought us here. Biscuit Jack toasted with the remaining lemonade. To believing we could, and getting halfway there. Professor Encouragement danced on the rail. To lemons, to sugar, to treasure. Polly lifted her mug. And to never underestimating the power of absurd optimism. The lazy albatross unfurled her sails, which caught the candy-scented breeze and billowed proudly. Guiding her this time was a map that wouldn't melt, blot, or preach. Yet deep in the captain's coat pocket, the soggy, quote-ridden parchment remained. Polly couldn't bring herself to toss it. Weathered, smeared and half illegible, it still whispered, believe you can, and you're halfway there. Polly patted the old parchment and winked at the horizon. Halfway's merely the start, she murmured. The rest, we'll improvise. And so, the lazy albatross sailed on, its crew buoyed by treasure, by trippy confectionery memories, but mostly by the bemused certainty that every direction, however ridiculous, could be the right one if taken with enough nerve, lemons, and laughter.